On our site, you will find free poker training videos for tournaments, sit-and-goes, and cash games. We will in this video explain the basics on the most popular poker format called No Limit Hold'em. First, let's talk about starting hands. Starting hands are the two pocket cards each player is dealt every hand. Only you can see and use your pocket cards. Take a look at this diagram and make yourself familiar with the starting hands values. As you can see, pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks are the best starting hands in No Limit Hold'em. Now let's look up on what beats what in No Limit Hold'em. We will name the made hands from bottom to top. First, high card. If no one has anything, the player with the highest card in their hand wins. Just having an ace in your pocket cards is sometimes enough. Next one is one pair. Two cards that match, like two aces. Then we have two pairs, such as two kings and two sixes. Next we have three of a kind. Three cards of the same number or rank, such as three sevens. Then we have a straight. 5 cards in a row, such as 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, but not all of the same suit. Then we have the flush, which is 5 cards, all of the same suit, but not in any order, such as 2, 4, 6, 9, 10 of diamonds. Next is the full house, which is 3 of a kind plus a pair, such as 10, 10, 10, 7, 7. Then comes 4 of a kind, or otherwise called quads, such as queen, 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 7. Then we have quads with 7 as a kicker. Next is the straight flush, which is 5 cards, all of the same suits, in order, such as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of clubs. To the last we have the best hand in all of poker. A royal straight flush is when you have 10, jack, queen, king, ace, all in the same suit. Now let's talk about position. Your position tells if you will be first, middle or last to act in a hand, and is therefore very important before deciding on playing a hand or not. Seats 1 and 2 are the small and the big blind. Seat 3 is first position and is called under the gun, and for good reasons. Seats 4 and 5 are early position and called under the gun plus 1 and under the gun plus 2. Seats 6 and 7 are middle position, and seat 7 is called the hijack. Seat 8 is late position and known as the cutoff. Seat 9 is the last position and called the button or dealer. When you are in early position, it is smart to play mostly strong starting hands. What is blinds? The blinds are forced bets that everyone at the table have to make when it's their time. The blinds move around the table clockwise, as all positions. The big blind is double the amount of the small blind. In a cash game, the blinds are always the same, but in tournaments and sit-and-goes, the blind increases each level. Here we see Ron posting the small blind, and Sean posting the big blind. After the blinds are posted, all players will be given 2 cards. These are your hoard cards or pocket cards, and only you can see and use them. Then there is the first round of betting, and the player who wants to play their hand either calls or raises. When the first round of betting is done, we get to see the first 3 community cards called the flop. Everyone can use the cards on the table to make the best possible hand. After the flop, there's another round of betting, and the players still in the hand get to see the 4th card called the turn. Before we get to see the last card called the river, we have another round of betting. Now we have all the 5 community cards on the table, and it's time for the last round of betting. After the last round of betting, the players still remaining in the hand will go to showdown. They will now have to show their 2 pocket cards, and the player with the best hand will table it and win the pot. Here you see a player winning a pot at showdown. No one had a pair, so he won it with his ace high. What is an all-in? In any time in no limit hold'em, a player may wager all of his chip, known as going all-in. If this happens and another player calls this bet, both players' hands will be shown and all the community cards will be dealt. The player with the best hand after the river, otherwise the last card, has hit the table, will win the hand and scoop the pot. Everyone talks about bluffing in poker, so let's discuss it. Bluffing is when you bet without a good hand and try to make your opponent to fold a better hand. You can basically bluff on every streak. The flop, the turn, the river. You can even go all in as a complete bluff. But how to, when to bluff, and how much to bluff, we will teach you more about in the training videos. Now, what's a tournament? What's a sit and go? And what's a cash game? What is it? Well, tournaments are also called multi-table tournaments and referred to as MTT. In an MTT, there are many tables playing at the same time. If you lose all your chips at any given time in an MTT, you will be gone and the MTT ends for you. There can be several thousand players in one MTT. About 10% of the players entering an MTT will win a prize. When there are only enough players left for one full table, the table will be played and will be called the final table. It is normally on the final table the big prizes are to be won, especially third, second and first prize. They are very high compared to ninth place. The blinds increase every level in the tournament, but the length of the level vary. Sit and goes are single table tournaments. They start as soon as enough players have registered. The most common sit and goes have 2, 6 or 9 players. In the 9-player sit and go tournament, the 3 top place finishers will be paid. The blinds increase every level and the length of the level vary depending on the structure of the sit and go. If you play a normal one, it will go slow, and if you play a super turbo, it will go very fast. Cash games are also a different style of poker. In cash game, you will normally have deeper stacks than in tournaments. Also in cash games, the blinds will always be the same. You can leave a cash game and take your winnings with you at any given time. If you lose all your chips in a cash game, you have the option to rebuy for the maximum chips allowed at the table. Cash games comes in 3 formats, the first being full ring cash games. They are 9 to 10 player cash games. Second is 6 max cash games, a lot of actions, fewer players, which contain a maximum of 6 players. The large cash game format is heads up. In a heads up game, you are playing only one opponent, 1 versus 1. There's a lot of action in heads up cash games, and some of the best players in the world has specialized in cash game heads up poker. We will in our training videos use a tracking software. We have chosen to use what we think is the most user-friendly software. Let's look at the stats on the software and how to read it. First, we see the name of the players, which tell us who is who. Then the M zone. That means how many orbits the player can go without winning a hand before going broke. The VPIP means how often the player is willingly putting money in the pot. PFR means pre-flop raise, how often a player raises before the flop. 3bet/F means how often a player re-raises another player and how often he falls to those re-raises. Steal/F means how often a player steals the blinds if he gets the chance, and how often he falls to another player's steal. AF means aggression factor. The higher the aggression factor, the more likely the player is to bluff. C-bet/F means how often a player makes a continuation bet after he raised the flop, and how often he falls to another player continuation bets when he have called a flop raise. VSD/V means how often a player is willing to go to showdown and how often he won those showdowns. Net is how many chips you have jacked a player win or lose in the current game. And streak means how many hands he have won or lost in a row. EV tells you the expected value of playing your hand from your current position. Group tells you the strength of your starting hands, ranging from 1 as the best and 9 as the worst. Outs is how many cards that will improve your hand if they hit the board. The win odds is how often the software thinks you will win this hand. Pot odds is how much of the pot you must pay to call, a bet or raise. Generally speaking, if the win odds are higher than the pot odds, it's smart to make the call. Although win odds should only be used as an indicator. If you look at the bottom left of the software, you can see an H. If you click on this, you will see all the history you have recorded with the given players. If some of you want to try the poker software, you can download a free trial in the links below this video. Now that you have learned the basics, you might want to take a look at our free training videos. You will find them in the links on the top right corner of our webpage. That was all for today. Thank you very much for being with us, and welcome back.